Hello, parents, teachers, caretakers, and grandparents. Thank you so much for coming back again and again. So, we are in this episode called Ask George Uncle, right? So, if you have questions, shoot your questions to the email askgeorgeuncle@gmail.com. I'll say that again, askgeorgeuncle@gmail.com. We would love to get your questions, would love to answer you. Not that we have answers for all the questions, because there are so many different angles to every question, the backgrounds to every question, but we will try to answer. I have a very interesting question today. This is the mother writing. Recently, my boy, my teenager's marks are very, very low. We don't know what will happen next. He has failed also in some subjects. Even while studying, in between, he goes to watch videos on YouTube. If we are not nearby, he will start playing games and stop studying. Not bothered about his exams that are going on. We don't know what to do. We are worried. Thank you so much for transparently sharing this. Now, there are three basic reasons, and I've said this several times. There's always meaning behind behavior. Now, the boy is doing something like this because he has lost interest. Somewhere he has given up his hope. Somewhere he's kind of given up and said, I don't think I'm going to study. I don't think even if I study, it's going to make a difference. I don't think if anybody is going to value me. I don't know what the reasons are. Maybe the situation at home or the situation in the school. I've seen, I'm not saying it's your situation, but I've seen sometimes in homes, if there is too much of pressure that's going on, and they keep, the parents keep, or the grandparents or anyone keeps, nagging them of saying and never appreciating even their little efforts, but they're putting a lot more efforts and still it's not appreciated. They just give up. So they say, what's the use? That could be one of the reasons. Two, the boy must be having some other issue. Sometimes it's bullying at home, sometimes it's the teachers not valuing, sometimes it's social awkwardness that he might have, that he's not connecting with his friends are not accepting him. I don't know what the reasons are. You may have to spend time to find out what the reasons are. Two, so we need to know what's the meaning behind the behavior. That's two. Three, maybe some of the times what happens is very simple in studies, that this particular boy have began to believe in himself that he will not be able to study. There is some problem with him. There is some issue. I've seen teenagers tell me, saying, teachers tell them or parents tell them, saying, your brain is damaged, you cannot do things, you're not a brilliant kid, that, right? Things like that. So sometimes what happens, the kid himself believes that he's not very good. I don't know what the reasons are. I'm just giving three common reasons. There are several other reasons. So what do you do as parents do right now? Spending time with the teenager is going to be a first important thing. Now, why do we spend time? I'm not saying going out and taking him out for parks and things like that. No, that also is good. But the purpose of spending time is to know what's the underlying factor. Because we want to not just deal with the behavior on the outskirts, we want to deal with the issue that's underlying. That's an underneath issue, and we want to deal with that issue. And only when you spend time and have that transparent talk, and that will take time. The boy has to trust you. You need to earn that trust, where the boy begins to share, being vulnerable to you. That's what needs to happen. That's the first thing. Two, seriously come alongside and see what are his struggles. Maybe he's struggling with some subject. Maybe there's a struggle among his friends. Maybe teach him a little bit. Maybe share with him about social interactions. Third very important thing is this. In some things that he's doing, learn to appreciate and affirm. Spend a lot more time in appreciation. Spend a lot more time affirming the teenager, to say, even if he's taking, say for example, he never gets up in the morning to study, and one day maybe he's afraid of the exams that's coming up, and he gets up he usually gets up at 7:30, but he got up at 6:45. Now, immediately parents might say, 6:45 is not very early. I know. But even if he gets up at 6:45, immediately pounce and celebrate. Maybe make a fantastic meal that day and said, I'm so glad you got up, man. You're amazing. You're improving. You're great. You will do well. You're amazing. Start speaking those words of faith. believing in that child, believing in that teenager. Start speaking. And that words of affirmation and words of appreciation is going to be very, very critical for this child. Now, as a teenager, he is going through a lot more than his body issues, his emotional issues, his hormones changing, social interactions, different comparisons. I mean, I can keep adding on to it. So at the house, make it a safe place for the child to be who he is. In the house, if we are going to say, don't behave like this, don't behave like that, don't behave like this, I do understand. I'm not saying he can still be playing games and not study and all of that. Now, all that will change when he starts having a purpose, when he starts understanding that somebody believes in him. So you need to spend a little time to put that belief in him, saying, I believe in you. I'm not giving up on you. I'm there for you. You will do things amazing. I know things are not very great. Yes, the way I have reacted also not very great. I want to change. Let's do it differently. It's coming to that place of that transparent place where we can just be vulnerable. When we are vulnerable, the children begin to be vulnerable with us. If we can be vulnerable and we can be transparent and we can share that, I think things will change. Thank you so much for sending these messages. Thank you so much for these questions. Keep sending the messages. Remember the email, askgeorgeuncle@gmail.com. Thank you for watching.